Hello, my name is Kathy Jefford, and I'm the author of a book as a former Jehovah's Witness called Where's Jimmy? It's a lifetime search for a little boy's soul and discovery of my own. I was born in 1953 at a time when Jehovah's Witnesses were really being growing around the world, and a lot of new teachings and truths were coming out. In fact, it's believed that witnesses celebrated birthdays up until about 1951, so I missed that by 2 years. But I was raised with a very strict father, and what was significant is the death of Jimmy. I was 8 years old, and he was my friend. His funeral, his death, had a great impact on my life. But I believed he would be in paradise. And just very few years after his death, it came out that in 1975 would be the beginning of the Great Tribulation. And then would start to usher in Armageddon and then paradise. Unfortunately, as often happens in the death of a child, their only child, Jimmy's parents, stopped being witnesses. They divorced, remarried, and joined other churches. My father refused, of course, that we speak about them. But I would ask, but what happens to Jimmy? And he said, he was never baptized. His parents are no longer witnesses, so he no longer has the hope of being in paradise. And that began a long journey of really taking a deeper look at Jehovah's Witnesses. I have been raised where we sat for 2 hours on Sunday morning, 1 hour Tuesday night, and 2 hours Thursday night, which is very difficult for a child. And we sat with the adults, as you all do, hearing words and stories that we don't understand. I was 5 years old when the Paradise book came out. It was supposed to be for us children, full of hope and the beauty of living in a paradise, a park with animals. But it was full of all the things that had to happen in the destruction of this world. It was scary. I'll never forget the cover of one watchtower that showed people screaming and running, and behind them buildings, political, government buildings, and churches are falling. I had already asked my father when I started school and came home the first day, what about my teacher? All the kids in the classroom were so nice. He said, then you have to preach to them. That's a heavy burden to put on a child. I wrote the book for us to think about children. I do tell you about the routes my life took. It took many avenues. I was disfellowshipped, was reinstated, and even then, though, it was never the same. That wasn't to be trusted. It was more about being an apostate because I asked too many questions and expressed too many doubts. I cover those issues. I talk about suicide. I talk about many subjects that are deep, but there's also some lighter things into my story. I do get deprogrammed, and it was so long ago, 40 years almost, that we didn't have cell phones or internet. We didn't know of cult therapists. Just stumbled upon finally a psychologist who listened to my story, and she said, you need deprogrammed. And we began to talk. It is my story, and it's written to give hope, to give words to what many of us have dealt with and feel. And that's the purpose. It's available on Amazon in a hard copy, and there is also an ebook. And for those on Amazon Unlimited, it should be free. I look forward to speaking with you in more depth in the future, and send my love to you all.